We have an epidemic in this population, and I might say needlessly.
People who work underneath, no, I don't think they should.
In order to vent those mines, you have to pump out the air within that mine, which is radioactive.
They didn't give you any instruction? Nothing. Nothing. They didn't tell us nothing.
When was the mine abandoned?
Close to about 1960 or something like that. My dad was still working up here, but after that, I think it was close to 60. And he used to work on all these mines around here.
That's a fairly large mine.
Is it an underground mine?
Yeah.
It's a probe that it'll read anything, but it mainly reads alpha and beta particles, and the last reading was 340 counts a minute. Up here in this kind of wind, that's about 8 times the background.
At one of the drilling pipes, the alpha beta counter read 1,800 counts a minute. At the air shaft, the alpha beta count was 340 counts a minute. What's the reading?
10,800.
So come back from there. One's enough. I'd like to get out. Go on.
You couldn't pay me to go in here too far. It's 1,100 counts a minute on the GM probe, which reads mainly alphas and betas. We're coming out of the shaft.
You sure left a lot of shit.
You know, these ionizations are so energetic that you can actually hear the ionizations in the chamber. I mean, without any audio amplification at all. It's 4,300 counts a minute, and that's on the probe that reads practically no gammas. It reads mainly alphas and betas.
Can I just record that for a second, that action you're talking about?
Want to do it down by the ground where there's not so much wind?
Yeah, I'm almost out of tape, so I'll just run out on this.
The populace who live in close proximity to those venting ducts from uranium mines have concentrations that are anywhere from 10 to 100 times background level.
I don't know, it angers me. Because I was by his bedside when he died. I held on to his hand when he died. I told him not to go. I said, Daddy, don't go. But he did. I feel like crying all the time. I just see it's inside me. They tell us it's cancer. That's what they said at Shiprock.
The government had a sole monopoly and subsidized the uranium industry in the United States. It's a lost generation that we still don't pay any attention to in the United States. I know of no safe level, first of all, of radiation in terms of either inducing a cancer or a genetic effect.
I'm very concerned about what radiation is doing to the gene pool of mankind.
I was told that there is more contamination in the world, or in the air and water, from military production of weapons than there is even from the private plants.
Yes.
What are the weapons facilities in the country, and is there a hazard to health from the making of weapons?
One major one is the Savannah River plant in South Carolina. This also is quite a dirty plant, like the Rocky Flats plant. It has 5 nuclear reactors, 5 nuclear plants, of which 3 are still operating. The plant has there, in a single day, released Curie amounts of plutonium in the air. They release millions of Curies of tritium each year, contaminate the water as well as the air. A survey has been done around the plant which shows over 1,000 square miles contaminated with plutonium from the plant.
Microgram quantities will kill a beagle dog with certainty, and we feel like that similar amounts or even smaller amounts will produce lung cancers in humans.
Most of nuclear weapons are produced in South Carolina. It is a waste storage place of the United States, one of the natural sacrifice areas.
And water's contaminated, and this water is going right into our river systems and into our main river, which is the Savannah River. And really, I think that people below us that are pulling water supplies out of Savannah River are picking up radiated contamination, and that they're drinking this water.
99% of the semi-solid nuclear waste in the United States is generated by the military. You see, the military has about 140 nuclear power plants to run its ships and submarines. Besides that, there's a tremendous amount of waste material generated whenever you make nuclear weapons.
Most of your government facilities are for nuclear bombs, making plutonium and manufacturing bombs with this plutonium. They ship this plutonium out.
The plutonium has been produced in what are called production reactors at the Savannah River plant in South Carolina and at the Hanford Reservation in the state of Washington.
In Hanford, the highest dose recorded was a man who'd been there for 25 years or longer, who had 50 rads. This is a total cumulative dose. But he got it in tiny little packages. Nobody ever had the equivalent of the A-bomb survivor, one big hit. Now, all the recommendations say one big hit is more dangerous than a little one. This is built in, it's an assumption. And it is the basis of the control of nuclear waste. If you dilute it enough, it will be safe. Well, we say dilute it and it'll add to the danger.
There was a philosophy which was called the dilution philosophy, which means if you dilute something, then it doesn't give any harm. But with all the knowledge we have today, we must say radiation is inducing health damage regardless how little the doses are. So that even if you dilute radiation much more, you will having the radioactive material being more widely distributed. And therefore, the cancer cases and all the health effects will only be more widely distributed. And this is the only effect of this dilution philosophy.
It makes absolutely no difference whether you have put it all in one place or you have spread it out, because the total irradiation of human beings, the total number of beta particles which are going to be smashing into living tissue is the same. In fact, if what some researchers like Dr. Stewart are saying is true, it will be even worse.
The amount of radiation which came out of South Carolina is also huge. So you might imagine what the effect of Savannah River plant, simply due to the operation, has been to the public.
We already know that radiation depresses the ability of the body's immune defense system to protect itself against a whole variety of diseases.
And they put up these signs saying, danger, hazardous, do not swim, do not fish. And it was like it appeared one day and people said, you know, you can't go out to the lower 3 runs anymore and swim. Yeah, the government's put up some kind of signs out there. And it never registered with the local people that it really was dangerous.
What's the count?
It's about 6,000 counts a minute, just under that. No, just over, 6,400 counts a minute.
It's a lot higher than we were. Keep going. Closer to the swamp.
Actually looks like a man-made drainage ditch.
What is it now?
Well, it went up a little high. Yeah, it's up closer to 7,000 a minute now.
Okay. Hold it. Let's go on down by the swamp.
Exactly 7,000 counts a minute here.
This feeds right out of the plant?
Yeah, that leg up there goes right up into the plant and feeds down to the Savannah River. Well, I got to change scale, so we just went off scale.
Whoops.
It's just a flick of the switch, but...
What is it now, do you know?
Well, on the analog, it's reading about 10,000 counts a minute. We'll get an exact reading. Yeah, it's 10,000 counts a minute.
Go right down right near the water there, where it's real still.
It looks like about, probably 11 or 12,000 counts a minute. I don't know. We'll get something exact in a moment. We're doing 30-second readings so we can depend on the...
Now put it
It's
right
12.
down next to the water.
It's just over 12,000. It's about 12,600. Well, that's 15,000 counts a
Let's
minute.
go.
The
I'd like to get out
background
of
here
here.
is...
What?
The background here is about 1/30th of that.
Okay, let's go. That's the highest we've had.
This is higher than we had standing in front of the plant at West Valley in New York.
Come on. Does it lower as we move back out to the road?
I'm back down on the other scale again.
Let's read it at the road. You're back down on the scale already? That's close to the point?
Yeah, just walking. What is it from here to that ditch?
10,020 feet.
And you know what that means when you get that kind of direct drop-off as you move away. It means that it really is a source. I mean, the source is right there in that water.
And they just ignore the fact that Allendale County has the highest cancer death rate in the state.
Your father worked in the plant before you?
He worked for 26 years out there. That was one of the main reasons that I went to work out there. Because it, he talked about it being such a great place and a great job, and my father died last August of heart disease. He had 2 pacemakers when he died.
In June of 1961, they had a release that was over a 3-day period. It was 150 times what happened at 3 Mile Island in radioactive iodine.
I know these plants aren't safe. I know the Savannah River plant isn't safe. I know the accidents that happened there. I know that my father worked on the plant. I know that my father personally got overdoses of radiation so great that they would not let him come home to his family. And I can't sit back and be quiet about it and not say anything about it.
Even now, walking around, how many people have it on them right now just from people they've known from the plant, How many people have they spread it to walking around that's unknown?
The stuff that they suit up in, does that protect them against the radiation?
Well, they suit up in the coveralls. All it does is protect them from contamination. You don't, you've got layers of cloth on so you don't get the contamination on your skin. The radiation, ionizing radiation, still goes right through them.
We were told it was a reprocessing plant and everything was safe. They took care of all the harmful things that could come along. We thought it was entirely safe when we worked there.
I had absorbed enough radiation then. The quota for a year in about 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Standing in this driveway, the ambient level, the just background level of gamma radiation is about 4 to 5 times as high as it is anywhere else in this region. Here we're reading out in the actual number of counts.
Was that just a count?
That's a count, just 3,185. We've had it on for 10 hours today. All day long, this thing hasn't once read over 650 counts in a 30-second period.
Now what is it reading?
Well, the last one was 3,074 for a 30-second period.
On the road, please.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Let's go back to the road then. I'm sorry, I thought it was public to the parking lot.